like go through my story because I know, like, Jess, you know my whole story, um but like Katie, Danielle, you guys don't. So I'm just going to go through the synopsis version of my, like, how I got here. So when the easiest way to start is when I was in high school, I started showing symptoms of depression and anxiety that went unnoticed and undiagnosed for about 3 years. And then while I was in college in nursing, well, I was not quite in nursing school yet. I was set to become a Latin teacher. Odd major, we know, but my mom convinced me to switch to nursing because it was much easier to get a job. So when I was 19, I was diagnosed with severe depression and generalized anxiety disorder. And that, like, kind of started a tough road. Up until then, I had always struggled with my weight. I had always struggled with my mindset, struggled with feeling good enough. And I know, like, so many of us don't feel good enough. We don't feel good enough for anything, for our partners, for our family, for, we struggle with that. I feel like that's very common among women. I feel like that's, kind of everyone's gone through a phase in their life where they've struggled a little bit with how they perceive themselves and feeling worthy enough. My mom put me in Weight Watchers at the age of 12. And that was really, really hard. It was hard because I felt different. I didn't feel good enough. I felt like because of my weight and because of, this extra baggage, that I was never going to be good enough. It was really hurtful and damaging to start a weight loss journey at the age of 12. I didn't wear a two-piece bathing suit until the age of 18 because I didn't feel comfortable. I had this voice in my head that just said, you can't. And it told me that over and over and over my whole life. I had a cousin in particular who was the same age as me, but was built very differently. She was super tiny, big chested from the age of 10, kind of like the person you, like, see in magazines. Like, that was her. But so I always compared myself to her, and I always just felt like I wasn't good enough. And I was, more successful in other ways. Like, everyone always told me I was smarter than her and, so much nicer. But it didn't matter to me because I didn't look the part. I didn't look like I thought I should. So by the time I was 19, that had, like, really worn me down. And I felt, that voice that said you can't was so loud, that I really just dreaded every single day. I didn't feel good enough for my job as a camp counselor, which, not that there's anything wrong with being a camp counselor, especially at the age of 19, but I didn't feel worthy enough to be around children and just be happy for them. Like, I didn't feel like I deserved that. I didn't feel like any of me was worth it. And so I just spiraled. I was on antidepressants, but they weren't working. I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I didn't know how to say, hey, this isn't working and I need something different. I didn't know how to work on my mind. I didn't know how to, like, change my thought processes. And so I just kept spiraling and spiraling. And finally, in the summer of 2009, I kind of committed to myself that I was going to kill myself. And it was really hard. I finally broke down one night and told my sisters about it and said, I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, and I can't tell you that yet, but it's going to happen. Like, I can't do this. I pray every day that I get hurt bad enough that I don't have to go to work and I don't have to see people and I don't have to be a part of this family. And I mean, I love my family. My family's such a huge part of my life, and I didn't even feel worthy of being a daughter, being a sister. And it broke their heart. They told my parents didn't know what to do because, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, mental health was so much more stigmatized and even harder to get access to treatment and care. And so my mom didn't know what to do. She made a few calls, but without a doctor's referral or a diagnosis, it would take 3 months to get me into a therapist or a psychiatrist. And my mom knew if she waited 3 months, I would be dead. I would find a way. And I was so set on not being worthy of life, of anything. And so my mom did the hardest thing she's ever done. And she has 5 kids, 2 of them by natural birth. And this is the hardest thing she's ever done. But she took me to the hospital and asked for an eval, and they evaluated me and determined I was not suicidal enough to be admitted or to receive any care at their facility because I didn't have the resource. I didn't have the tools for suicide. I had my plan wasn't specific enough, and I didn't have pills stocked up, or I didn't have access to a gun. So they said, sorry, but we have to just let you go. You're just going to go home, and here's a list of doctors you can contact to get an appointment. And my mom said, I've done that, and it's going to take 3 months, and my daughter will be dead if we wait. And they said, well, we can't prove that on paper, so sorry. But my mom, being the strong-willed and beautiful mother that she is, demanded that they admit me, which was really hard for her. And at 19, I was admitted to the psychiatric facility for adults, which was the hard part. Had I been, a year younger, they could have put me on the adolescent floor, and I probably would have fit in more. But I was on the adult floor because I was 19, and it was the scariest thing I have ever done in my whole freaking life. I was admitted with people with all kinds of disorders, schizophrenia, PTSD. There was grown men there that were violent and dangerous, and I had everything stripped from me. You don't get sweatshirt ties, like they take that away. You don't get shoelaces, you don't get utensils, you don't even have a bathroom door. You don't get to go to the bathroom in peace and quiet. It's chaos and no rights, no anything. It was the scariest thing. And at 19, I went through that for 8 days, away from my family, away from my friends. They got an hour to visit me every day, and my family came every single day. But while I was there, I did get a lot of resources, and I started on my path of finding the right antidepressant, which took about 5 years to find the right one. It's not an easy thing, but got started on the right path. And I remember while I was in the hospital, my mom asked how things were going on like the first or second day. And I was like, well, it's pretty boring when we aren't in therapy, and I don't know what to do. My mind just keeps cycling through all of these negative thoughts. And she was like, okay. So my mom brought me coloring books and colored pencils and a journal. And that journal changed everything. I started journaling, and it started with just like my thoughts and feelings and kind of my experience of being in the hospital. And I still have this journal. I still look back at it. It's taught me a lot. But I started journaling everything. And from there, that practice grew and grew and grew. And it's something I still do to this day daily. I write down my thoughts, and now it's become more productive. I've learned a lot about the way you write. The more you write negatives, the more you write the hardships. Yes, it's good to get it out, but if you continue to write about that day after day, that is what you're going to see in your life. You have to write it out and write out the pain, but then you have to take it and turn it into, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want to see every day? So I started journaling, and then 2 years later, I decided that my pain and my suffering was not going to go without a cause. So I started a campus group at my college. and we advocated for mental illness treatment on campus and got the word out, because so many people didn't realize you can go to therapy up to 3 times a week, paid for by the school, plus any of your antidepressants are free of charge, with doctor's visits. Like, now that I'm in the real world, that's freaking crazy. Like, if you went to therapy 3 times a week, you'd be racking up bills from here till the day you die. Like, it is so freaking expensive to go to therapy. And the fact that I could have gone 3 times a week, paid for by the school, like, I wish I had known that from the day I enrolled, because that is so crazy. But so we were just getting the word out there. Like, if you're struggling, there are so many options. There's group therapy, one-on-one therapy. There's, so many things you can do that is all provided free of charge. So I did that for 2 years. And I still struggled. I was definitely not in the clear yet. I was still in pain a lot. And it was kind of my own way to cope. I met a lot of people who also suffered from severe depression and generalized anxiety disorder. And I met a lot of people with bipolar disorder and a few with schizophrenia, and people who, were suffering just like I was. And I found I realized I wasn't alone. I had felt alone since that first day in Weight Watchers when I was 12. I had felt alone in these struggles. And I finally didn't feel alone anymore. I finally felt like there were people out there that were hurting just as bad as I was and have been hurting. And I realized I needed to spend my life making sure that other people didn't go down that road that I did. Saving people some of that suffering. The pain you can't take away, but some of the suffering you can choose not to go through, So I did that for 2 years, battled my depression, battled my anxiety, and then developed bulimia, which was fun. Mostly from my anxiety as a way to cope, to have control. Struggled with that for a couple of years. And it's crazy because even though I only struggled with that for 2 years, I still, to this day, there are times when I eat too much or feel guilty about an indulgence. And I'm like, should I throw up? Like, it's crazy. It's been like 8 years since I've done that. And I still, to this day, like, it is so hard to recover, guys. And that's part of why I became a coach, was to alleviate those thoughts and those hardships from people. Yeah, so after college, I started as a nurse and I started on nights. And then I gained 35 pounds in the first 6 months on night shifts as a nurse. It was freaking hard. And then I was like the heaviest I had ever been, ever. And it all kind of came to a head when I was getting ready for my best friend's wedding and couldn't zip up my dress that I had ordered 6 months before, but I gained 35 pounds in those 6 months. So yeah, my dress didn't fit. And that day I just felt so shitty about myself. Like, not just my weight, not the way I looked, but mostly the way I felt. I didn't feel vibrant. I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel like you should feel when your best friend's getting married. Like, I had to go into the bathroom and miss so much of the wedding. I went to the bathroom probably 6 times, had my best friend unzip my dress so that I could breathe and take my inhaler. Like, that's what I remember from my best friend's wedding. How sad is that? Like, I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. I hate that there are so many women out there who have those moments that define their life for the worse. And it is my goal to prevent as many of those possible moments as I can. So a month later, I decided, all right, enough's enough. I work nights, I have all these excuses, but I am committing to changing my life, because I cannot get heavier and I cannot get more unhealthy, and my brain was not functioning right. Like, I was so negative, so tired. And yes, I was working nights, so of course I was tired, but it was worse. It was like an exhaustion. So I started losing weight on my own, and it was good. I lost like 15 pounds. I was starting to feel really good. And then I just like, I don't know, I felt like I couldn't do it alone anymore. So I reached out to my sister-in-law, who had recently started with a personal trainer, and she was like, you should just try it. She's actually really nice. She's really cool. And the first session is free. You can always go, and if you don't like her, you don't like her. Well, I go and I meet Jess, who is on this call. And that was the first day of our friendship, and that was the first day that I felt like I had someone fighting in my corner. And for someone who had felt alone since she was 12, maybe even before that, to have someone in your corner who believes in you is everything. To have someone who understands you and who doesn't judge you and who knows that your mental struggles are more important than your physical ones. There were days I would show up to train with Jess, and she would look at me like, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "What do you mean, what's wrong?" And she's like, "It's written all over your face. We're not working out today. What's going on?" And I would just break down. And I'd be like, "Today's a bad day mentally. My depression's kicking my ass." And she'd be like, "Okay, let's talk." And we'd literally sit on the gym floor and just talk, because she knew that I needed that more than I needed to do squats or lunges. And Jess and I built this team that we are creating right now. It is founded on that principle that your mental health and your emotional health is worth more, so much more, than accomplishing a workout for the day. Or, yes, we realize like, doing those workouts and eating right and all of that will feed your mental health so well. But if you don't, like, you are, hey Kelly.
Sorry I'm late.
You're okay. I'm just going through my story and talking about our team. Feel free to mute yourself if you have background noise or something.
I'm outside, so if it gets too loud, just let me know.
Okay. But yeah, so we built this team. So I trained with Jess for like, 4.5 years, something like that. And then Jess came to me one day during our training session, and she said, "I'm not going to train anymore." And like, it was one of those moments where I was like, oh crap, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't have a Jess anymore. And she was like, "Don't worry, we'll stay friends. Like, don't worry about it." And I was like, "Okay, you can't just like drop off the face of the earth." And she was like, "I won't." And so we were talking, and she was like, I'm going to do this Beachbody thing where I'm going to become a coach and help other people, and like, just do that to stay accountable. That way I don't, gain weight, or like, that way I keep my eating under control. And she was going through some health problems too. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's really cool." And it like planted this little seed. And I started to do some research. I went home. I didn't say much about it then. I went home and I did a bunch of research. I looked online. What is this coaching thing? What does it entail? I did all this research on my own for about 2 or 3 days. And then I saw Jess that Monday. And I was like, "Hey, Jess, guess what? I'm going to coach with you." And she was like, "Oh, you are?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am. Like, legit, I'm just going to sign up today." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you can do it with me. That'd be cool. We can keep each other accountable. Like, we can do this together." And that was 1.5 years ago. And here we both are, building a team based on the idea that your mental health and your well-being is of higher value than your body and what your physical shape is. The cool thing about all of this is that we are building a community of people who believe the same things we believe. A lot of coaches, that I've talked to, you see a lot of coaches and they're super little, just like personal trainers. You never really know someone until you talk to them. And like, because I totally prejudged Jess, and I was like, she is a personal trainer. She is this tiny little thing with all these muscles, and she is never going to understand where I come from, ever, never. And then I met her, and then I was like, okay, maybe she'll understand. And then by the end of the session, I was sold and I was like, yeah, she understands. But so now we're building this team of women who aren't going to let these things stop them. Like, we're not going to let fear stop us. We're not going to let judgment stop us. Like, we know we were made for so much more. So I've still been journaling since that first day in the hospital. I have been, but I didn't really get all of the skills that I needed and all of the the tools that I really craved until I signed up to be a coach a year and a half ago. I was still having anxiety attacks 3 times a week before I became a coach, and was so unsure in my marriage and just didn't know what to do. Like, I knew I wanted to be better. I knew I had this fire in my heart to help people, and I knew I had so much potential. Everyone's been telling me I've had potential since I was a little kid, but I didn't know how to get there. And then I joined this community, and all of these women who were so sure of where they were going, not necessarily where they were, because everyone's a work in progress, but they were so sure of where they're going. And I knew I needed that. I knew I needed more of that. And I just needed to surround myself with people who understood that we are working on ourselves every day, but that doesn't mean that we are any bit less worthy and any bit less deserving of all the great things in life that we so desperately want, just because we're a work in progress. Like, just because you're not a size 2, or just because you're not, where you want to be professionally, just because you're not all these things that you've been telling yourself you should be, just because you're not that person doesn't mean that you're not a freaking awesome human being, like, and worthy of what you want deep down in your heart. And like, it showed me to accept what I want deep down in my heart. I was always so afraid of that. A year and a half ago, I would not have called myself a courageous person. And this morning I was journaling about how courageous and how brave I am. Like, and I would have never used those words to describe myself 2 years ago. Like, maybe other people saw it, but I didn't see it. Maybe other people saw that I was worthy. I didn't see it. So if you've like been being told your whole life, oh, you're so great, but you're amazing. If your spouse tells you that all the time, you're amazing, babe, but you don't believe it, it's almost like it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's almost like it just goes right through you. We built this team so that other women don't have to feel like they're the ghost of who they want to be. That is why we did this. And I didn't even know that's why I was doing it when I signed up. When I signed up, I was like, I just want some accountability because I need to freaking lose some weight. But now that I'm here, that is why I did it. I did it so that I decided to become a coach just for accountability and just because I was like, oh, it sounds fun. Now, why I'm still a coach a year and a half later is because I want to reach as many people as I can and let them know that they're worthy of the biggest life possible, whatever that looks like for you. Everyone's version of a big life is different. Some people, that's complete freedom, working from home. This opportunity can give you a lot. A lot of people build a 6-figure, beautiful stay-at-home business. Insert a disclaimer that Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income. It is all based on each individual coach's skill, diligence, and hard work. But you can do whatever you want with this. But what I'm doing and what I want with this is to just reach as many people as possible and make them feel that their worth is there. That I just, like, it blows my mind where I was before I started this journey. And it blows my mind how far I've come in the last year and a half. I also did a lot of work with gratitude. You know, if you're not looking for the things you're grateful for, if you're not looking for the positive and the good, it is not going to be around you. You're only going to see the negative. You have to, you know, your brain is wired for fear. So what coaching has done is it's let me let go of those fears and to rewire my brain to seek the positive and seek the good and seek the opportunity that's there. You know, I was in a really toxic work environment when I started coaching, and I had some really negative coworkers, and I finally said, like, enough is enough. And I talked to my husband, and we were like, yep, we can make it on one income plus what you're making with Beachbody. You know, we can make it. You know, you can quit your job. And I quit my job a year ago, and I got out of a very toxic environment. That took so much freaking courage that I didn't know I had. It seems like it's all, you know, coaching is all just like, oh, I'm working out, I'm eating healthy. But it's so much more than that, guys. It's I am becoming well from the inside of my heart all the way to the outside of my body. You know, it is this totally transformative experience of surrounding yourself with the right people, the right tools, and the right information and positivity coming in so that you can help others on the outside. So that you can give of yourself and say, look, this is what I'm doing. You should try it. And that's really like what coaching is just like working on yourself, working on your own body and your own mind, and helping other people do the same. For me, I focus heavily on the mental aspect of your whole transformation experience. For me, if you you know, if you lose a bunch of weight, but you still struggle with food and still struggle with emotional eating, it's not, I didn't do my job right. Like it's about the whole person, and it's about, you know, becoming better from the inside out. So, you know, what we offer in this, you know, I keep talking about this community and this team we're building. So we check in with each other every day and just say, like, you know, if we got our workout in, if we got, you know, if our nutrition's been good, what we're struggling with. Guys, when I am struggling with anything, the first people I go to are my teammates, because I know they understand, they're there, and they're going to be there no matter what. If I say, like, I ate a whole freaking gallon of ice cream because I was just real dang depressed, they're going to tell me it's okay. They're going to tell me to get back on track and to do better tomorrow. And they're going to tell me why. They're going to tell me because I'm worth it. Because I know I don't want to sit and wallow in that despair, because I'm better than that, because I deserve more than that. And they lift me up. Like, Jess and I are creating this team of believers, of people who believe in themselves, not just these awesome workouts that will torch calories and get you so hyped up, but we want to build a team of believers, people who believe in themselves and who live a balanced life and who drink wine on occasion and, you know, have those sweet treats when they want it. And, you know, but they also eat a crap ton of veggies and lean protein and fruit, and, you know, like they balance it. Like, that's our team name is Imperfectly Balanced, because we are all imperfect, but we are all balanced. You know, we're here for each other, and we are going to level out whatever we feel isn't right in our heart. Like, so I'm going to talk a little bit about like the technical aspects of coaching now that I've kind of gone through my story. But so like as a coach, really what you do is you connect with other people via social media, via, you know, your friends and family, and you share with them what's working for you on your journey. So if you're using a product and it's not working for you, you don't have to share it. You don't have to talk about it. You don't even have to suggest it to anyone. But what I know is that the things I'm doing right now are working. I'm dropping inches like crazy, and I'm on my postpartum journey. I, had a baby 9 months ago. He's adorable and I love him and I just snuggle him all the time. But I am going on this journey to better my mind and my body and build the life that I know I really truly deserve. And that kind of starts with all the fundamentals of coaching. So we connect with people. That lights my fire. That helps me step into the life I know I deserve. We do personal development every day, or professional development. So we read books, listen to podcasts, watch training videos that light our soul on fire. I've read a couple of books that have totally changed my outlook on life. Mastering Your Mean Girl, which is all about that little voice in my head that has told me that I can't for my whole life since I was a little girl. And changing that and silencing it and making the voice inside your head help you instead of tearing you down. It's so good. The Slight Edge, which is all about like creating little habits that turn into momentum and turn into getting you where you want to be. And I've applied that to everything: parenting, my marriage, my self-growth, affirmations. It's just I could keep talking all day about personal development. But that's one of the things that we do every single day. And then also we, work out and eat well. We nourish our bodies from the inside out, nourish our minds from the inside out. And then we get to celebrate other people, which is another really cool part of our, job as coaches, is we get to, celebrate people when they have a win, when they get to buy smaller pant size, or they just celebrate the fact that they did all their workouts they had planned that week. Like, we celebrate every freaking thing that people do, because you're not going to get anywhere if you're torn down. You're not going to get anywhere if you have a coach who says like, oh, but you said you were going to do 5 workouts. You only did 4 this week. Like, what kind of judgment? No. We are on a team where it's like, oh, you got 4 workouts in and you have 2 kids and you're quarantined. What the heck? You did awesome. Because guys, life is hard, and there is enough voices in our head and enough people telling us we are not freaking good enough on the internet that we do not need anyone else telling us that. Like, what people need is a positive, encouraging voice. And that is what we are. Like, even on my bad days, yesterday was a freaking shitty day for me. I had therapy. It went terrible. I cried for 45 minutes straight. And then I talked to my sister about it and I cried even longer. So I peaced out for the day, because that's the cool thing about coaching. You get to make it what you want it. If you have a really shitty day and you're like, I got to peace out, you peace out. Just like with work. If you need to take a day off from work, you take a day off from work. You get to make it what you want. You get to work as hard as you want to get whatever you want out of it. If you want to hit the ground running and you want to make an income out of this, you totally can. If you want to build up slowly and just have an effect on other people and just see where it goes and just work on yourself for right now, that's totally cool. We will meet you wherever you are. Because guys, there's too much damn negativity in this world. Sorry, I'm getting a little sweary because I'm all fired up. There's too much negativity in this world to tear us down, designed to destroy the fire in our heart. But one thing that coaching has done for me, and I use this metaphor in a training video that I did for our team, my weight loss journey and everything, my personal journey from depressed, suicidal teenager to thriving 30-year-old with a family and a job and something I'm passionate about. That journey, it was like all along, like when I was working out with Jess as a personal trainer and like all of that, I had this little fire inside me, and I was just like feeding it a stick or 2 at a time. When I joined coaching, I poured lighter fluid all over that freaking fire, and it is burning so damn bright that I am not going to let it be dimmed by anyone. Like, sorry, no, like not going to happen. That is what coaching does. It takes that fire that you already have burning inside you for whatever purpose. Like for me, it's mental health and making people believe in themselves. Maybe for you, it's a little bit different. But what it does is you pour lighter fluid on that fire and you just let it burn as bright as you freaking can, because you don't care who sees it. You don't care if someone's going to judge. Like, if someone wants to judge me because I was in a hospital when I was 19, go for it. I don't give a crap. Like, you want to judge me because I work out and post my nutrition and talk to people about the things they're struggling with, go for it. I don't care. Liz, 4 or 5 years ago, Jess can attest to this, would have hid under a freaking rock because any judgment from anyone made me shrink away. And now my fire is burning bright. It doesn't matter if you throw a cup of water on it. It's still going. Go for it. Like, nothing is going to stop me. Nothing is going to dim this light that I know is burning bright for others and for my purpose. It's not. And I just want to give this to as many people as I can. Like, I literally, I feel like I have all the tools, all the resources, all the love and all the light in my heart. And I just want to give that away. And I want to share with everyone what it means to be a coach, what it means to be a supporter, what it means to be a good human and a fired up human with all the potential in the world that I am stepping into and becoming this woman that I never thought I would be. So yes, I probably could have gotten here by the time I'm 40 on my own. But with coaching, it just intensified the process and made me really dig in and do the work and really like look at myself and say, what is going to get you to where you want to be? Like, we're done messing around. We're going to be a freaking queen, and it doesn't matter who says anything to us. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter if anyone judges you. This is the life you're stepping into. And this is the person you were born to become. And I just want to give this to as many people as I can, because it has totally changed my life for the better, given me people who believe in me and who fight for me when I can't fight for myself. And guys, I was having panic attacks 3 times a week before I started coaching. I've had 4 in the last year and a half. No, I'm not perfect. No, my anxiety and depression is never going to fully go away, but I do not stay there, guys. On my bad days, yesterday I had a bad day. Do I look like I'm having a bad day today? Don't think so. Still feeling pretty good. So, like, I don't stay there anymore. Like, yes, it's okay to have bad days. Like, everyone has them. But I don't stay depressed for weeks on end, months on end. Sometimes, like, when I was training with Jess, there would be times when I would cancel my sessions for weeks in a row and just say, I can't right now, Jess. And she would say, it's okay. I'm still here. What do you need to talk about? Which was great. I mean, she's just a good freaking human, which is why we're building this team together. But I used to stay there. And guys, I am not staying there any longer. And I'm not going to let any of my fellow coaches or even my clients, I'm just not going to let them stay there. Like, I'm done. I'll do whatever I can. So that's the specifics. I mean, we have like trainings once a week, like team calls, we call them. And there's also like trainings given out by Beachbody, like corporate. And there's like tons of like checklists and things that we can give you to get you started. There's so much. We have all the tools, we have all the guides. We have a lot of material that we can give your way if you're concerned about like not knowing the products very well or not knowing the workouts. But you just get started. Like, you literally start by getting started on a fitness journey or a nutrition plan and just going from there. You focus on yourself and you reach out to others and see if they want to join you. And then you just keep growing that. You just keep asking more people. You just keep talking to people. And And you do not have to be a trainer to give others hope. You don't have to have any kind of, like, I have no fitness experience. Like, I worked out with a personal trainer, but I didn't, like, I'm a nurse. I just love helping other people, you know. And the cool thing about this is you may come into it not knowing what your strengths are or what your skills are. I guarantee 2 months in, 3 months in, you're going to know all of your strengths. You're going to know what you bring to the table, and that little fire of strength is going to burn so dang bright, you're not even going to recognize yourself. Like, you're not. And that's the really cool thing, because I don't recognize myself. When I look in the mirror, it is a totally different person. Totally different person. But yeah, we have all of that. So to get started, you really just have to, like, we'll figure out a plan and a package that works for you, and we'll get you started, and then we can go from there. There's so many options, but yeah, like, I couldn't list all the options. Right now I'm doing a boxing program that I'm in love with, so that's probably what I would recommend. But gets me so excited, and so just, like, fired up, because it's so empowering to punch the air and lift weights twice a week. And yeah, it's just super fun. And stepping into this community is stepping into people who believe in you, no matter what. And it's really cool. I feel like our team was built on friendship. You know, Jess and I go way back, and we try to keep that bond with everyone. You know, there's no, like, it's not like Jess has her coaches and I have my coaches, and, you know, we're this, like, separate, you know, you can't talk to my coaches. We reach out to each other's coaches. Like, we are a team. We are here. We are, like, we're just one team, and we're all trying to help each other help other people. So if that sounds like something you want to be involved in, let me know. We are, you know, always accepting new people, and always excited to add another friend to our team. Yeah,